Folks, we're going to go into our second keynote for today. This is going to be on leveraging data and analytics to support digital transformation. I'll tell you a little bit about our speaker who's coming up on stage in a bit. Our speaker joined GLP on the 22nd of June, 2021. It happens to be my father's birthday as well. It's a special day for me. She joined as Global Chief Information Officer and Executive Committee member. She has got 23 years of global experience in various industries. Ladies and gentlemen, please extend a nice big round of applause for Global CIO, GLP, Miao Song.
So good morning, everybody. I will try to actually generate some excitement because I think it's pretty hard at this time to listen to every single message because digital transformation is a buzzword in the last 3 years, right? During COVID pandemic, which company or organization didn't talk about digital transformation? Raise your hand. Nobody. I think the buzzword was in the boardroom, was in every single leadership meeting, into your operational meeting as well. But it's a pretty hard topic. The reason why I said it's a hard topic, I'll tell you why. Maybe just a quick introduction about myself. I moved back to Singapore last year during the pandemic. Before that, I was actually global CIO for Mars Pet Care, one of the largest FMCG companies in the world. I've been working in different industries in the last 20 years, living 5 countries in Asia, in Europe, back to Asia, back to Europe, and back to Asia. So very happy on where I am, location-wise. But what happened during COVID? I think a lot of companies were actually struggling. The reason why it was struggling is a huge disruption in the supply chain. It's a huge disruption of day-to-day work. So therefore, actually, digital transformation or data or analytics as part of the transformation agenda was on the boardroom because it actually contributes to the business itself. Having working in different geographies and different industries, what I learned is that I think something has to be tangible. When you drive digital transformation, it has to make it real. So often the agenda of transformation, data, and technology, the 3 buzzwords have to come together. So that is very important. I don't know your background and which industries you are from, but this is basically your day-to-day job, and you have to cope with. On top of that, I have a lot of passion around, beyond my work, I have a lot of passion around D&I, diversity and inclusiveness, because I think a good culture in the company or in the team will help the productivity, but also attract the best talents into the work. Without the talents, nothing can be done. So digital transformation cannot be done without the right digital talents who have the right mindsets. I'm very happy to share my personal journey. Sometimes it's positive, sometimes it was negative, but through the last 20 years, I learned, I grow. So I'm very happy to share my personal experience in the different industries. Hopefully, can give you some tips so that you walk away and there's some message there, right? Don't forget what I said today. So let me start to talk about data and analytics. I don't want to make it very vague, but I guess people here in every single industry and organization, you talk about data on a daily basis, right? But I want to ask a question. Is your data and analytics strategy is part of your business strategy? So raise your hand if data is part of your business strategy. I think probably more than 50%. For those where the data is not in the business strategy, could you tell me why? Is that not focused, or is that less investment, or this has not been in the agenda of the boardroom? Yeah, so I heard often data is a problem of IT. Rubbish in, rubbish out. No, that's IT, right? I don't care. So IT will fix the problem. In fact, it's very old-fashioned mindset. I'll tell you why. Because on a daily basis, people are dealing with data. So every organization are people dealing with data, and it's actually the owner is not IT. The owner is actually the business. So the first thing, if you are the CIO, if you're a head of IT, technology leaders or data leaders, the first thing you need to do is make data as part of business strategy. So I work with multiple organizations. I think probably one of the organizations, which is Mars, they made data as part of strategy, business strategy. The leaders talk about data on day-to-day basis. So the company used data to drive business growth. So when I work for the pet care business in Mars, the business strategy is create a better world for pets, powered by data. So that is it. So when we say powered by data, it means a lot. It means that they use data to make a better decision on day-to-day basis, but also use data and insights to create a new business revenue to help the business grow. So that's a very, very tangible strategy. I can share you with a live example on how data strategy was created as part of business strategy. So the data strategy was incorporated in 3 pillars. So the first one is operational excellence. The second one is using data and insights to grow the business as a key enablers. The third one is probably more specific to FMCG business around using data created digital supply chain. I'll dive into that. So the first one, operational excellence. It sounds very basic. It's about managing the master data. So for people who work in the tech space, who actually dealing with master data, it sounds like probably basic, but many organizations are still struggling with the master data management. But many organizations working on the master data, actually, they focus on the basics, such as product categories, such as master data, customer master data. They actually use the opportunity to drive quality of data, but actually help use cases in the operations. The second one is around the business intelligence. So basically, business intelligence in a simple term is around getting to report what happened in your operation. The key word is actually real-time information. So I think still quite a lot of organizations are struggling getting the real-time data to understand what's going on in your supply chain, what's going on in your financial services industry, what's going on with your customer. And actually, raise your hand if your organization have build real-time business intelligence. So your CEO, your head of business can really tell what's going on in the business right time, rather than like 2 days later, someone find out something went wrong with the customer service organization, or something wrong with your factory, something wrong with your financial services. Who has built real-time business intelligence? Raise your hand. I think now the percentage is less. Why is that? So there are some challenges, right? Perhaps many challenges in this area. Some organizations are struggling around the business processes. Some organizations are struggling about data quality. Some of organizations are just struggling around having the right technology solutions to integrate with the various systems, including your ERP system, including your customer CRM system, including your operational system, right? You won't have just single one system to do everything. That's impossible. But the integration is a problem for many, many organizations. Therefore, the technology, people can play a key role to bring the modern technology to help your organization to integrate your data better, to help your leadership to generate a real-time insight to make a better decision. When you make a faster and better decision to your business, and you will win among your competitors, right? So we all know data is the new oil, but how? The real-time business intelligence helps a company to make data the new oil for your organization. I think the third one, specific in this data strategy, is under operational excellence, is on automation. Because many companies are dealing with huge amount of data, either you admit or not, but you are dealing with huge amount of data. How you actually automate your processes of dealing with data data injection, data integration, connecting different systems. And you will be surprised, many organizations are still involve a lot of manual work in the day-to-day job. So raise your hand if your organization is able to automate 17% of the business processes. Nobody, right? Raise your hand if your organization's automated 50% of your business processes. Still, very few. Raise your hand if your organization only automate 20% of the processes. Raise your hand if your organization didn't automate anything, still manual, largely driven manual. Nobody. But you see, the percentage is actually surprisingly low. Why is that? So obviously, this creates a lot of opportunities for the IT people. If either you're a CIO, you're a data person, or your infrastructure people, this is a great opportunity for you to work on to demonstrate the value you can create and bring to the organization beyond the day-to-day IT support. So the second one is really data can be the growth enablers. I'll give you some examples. I won't talk about everything, but here, one example is consumer insights. I came from FMCG business before. So the companies in the consumer space, now they're kind of leaping forward to really looking at the end consumer insight to understand the consumer behaviors. This actually played a key role during pandemic because during COVID, it was pretty hard to predict the consumer behavior. Remember the toilet paper saga across the globe, right? That generates so much trouble in the supply chain. It's not just you can't get toilet paper, but there's a huge disruption of the manufacturing. It's huge disruption of the warehouse, logistics, everybody. How can the organization being able to predict the forecast, the demand, therefore make the better decision for their manufacturing, supply chain, inventory? It's a big issue. A lot of companies actually using the data analytics work, create advanced analytics. Using, for example, in this case, people are actually looking at external data using artificial intelligence or machine learning technology to be able to make a better prediction by region and also the consumer behavior. And what decision they make? They make a better decision on where they manufacture the products. They make a better decision on where they should put the inventory in their network, in the supply chain network. They make a better decision on which products they need to manufacture, which product they actually deprioritize, which generate huge benefit, actually. It's a benefit of saving the inventory. It's a benefit of efficiency. It's a benefit of the customer service. It's a benefit to the consumer. So this is another live example where the data strategy really touch the day-to-day operation in the industry. I will not talk about digital supply chain transformation, but again, if you think about end-to-end supply chain, all the way from sourcing to deliver the product into the customers, every single area, data analytics play a key role. So the job of the technology people is not just doing whatever the business tell us to do, but actually leaping forward to really looking at opportunities, create a business insight to help the business to grow, to help the business to make a better decision. So I must say, without data, without the technology people, the company can't run, right? So that's a value we can bring to the organization. So the first point, if you really seriously are about data and analytics, make it part of your business strategy. If your CEO has not done that, please make sure it's in the boardroom agenda, it's actually in the business strategy. So the second one, so once the data analytics is in your strategy, so what, right? Is that we just go around and then create machine learning, AI, we build a big data lake, or getting the fancy technology solution? No, you have to think about what are the key things are needed for the data capability. From my past experience, I basically simply put it in those three areas. The first one is digital technology. The technology or infrastructure to support your data, either it's cloud-based data lake or is Hadoop or whatever, Spark, whatever technology solution. But it's important to support your data initiatives. One key thing around digital technology here is basically make sure that you bring fit for purpose, cost-effective, and easy to implement, bring the speed into the implementation to generate the value. The second one is really the data and analytics capability. Here, the key thing is integrated data solution. The challenge is always that the data is everywhere, right? Everybody is dealing with internal data, but also on day-to-day basis, your organization, every single organization is dealing with external data. So it's important to have integrated solution. Raise your hand if you already have a clear data architecture in your organization, which technology you want to invest. Raise your hand. I think probably less than 50%. If you raise your hand if your organization doesn't know which technology you're going to invest in terms of building an integrated data solution. Yeah, so there are a few as well. There's some others, I don't know which situation you are, but it's a basic yes or no, right, in this question. And I think the challenge here is the difference being strategic and being tactical. So if you are tactical, you probably react to the business request. Every time there's a request to build a data solution, you probably just go out and find a solution. But the missing part is how you integrate the data in your organization to create the value. What's your longer-term strategy on your data technology investment? So you have to answer the longer-term question before you go quickly to fix a problem for the short term. So that's the second part. The third part is I call it data stewardship. It's basically data governance. Because without the right data governance, you won't have the right insights. This is around managing your master data. This is around data cleansing to make sure that you have the right quality of data. But the third one on data stewardship, it has to be managed by the business. It's not the IT job. So if your organization tells you that, hey, the data is not accurate, it's your job, that's wrong. You have to make the data stewardship part of the business responsibility and also even create a data stewardship organization to be full-time focused on managing data quality. So this is how I look at the three lenses holistically when building data capability or advanced analytics capability in the organization. I just want to also talk about, so this is the second point, right? The first point is making data, the business strategy. The second point, create a holistic capability. The third point is what? So what? So just imagine as a CIO or a technology leader, you go to your board, you go to your boss, say, hey, I have the strategy, I know the 3 pillars I need to build. And the question is, so what? What's the benefit you bring to the organization? I'll give you an example. The third one is building data-driven new business model. So you can tell your CEO, you can tell your leader, actually, I can make data as a new revenue stream. I don't know which industries you guys are from, but basically thinking about beyond doing the reactive data thing. You can think about data, monetize data in a longer term. This is one example for my current company. Basically what we're thinking differently is in the middle layer, we call the big data platform. But this platform is doing is actually aggregated data in our operation, including our smart parks, smart warehouses, all the smart operations to capture all the internal data of the customer, but also capture the data of every area of our operation. But also thinking about the different areas. For example, in the park, we have cargo, we have space. How we actually capture those information along with loaded that into our data platform. So this platform will support a better decision-making within the organization, but also using the data science to think about the future. What are the new business model the company actually can create, can generate, so that we incubate a new business in our whole value chain. So I just want to bring this one. The reason is that I don't want everybody to copy this, but the reason is that think about the new opportunities beyond what you're doing in terms of business intelligence. That's the real value you can bring to your organization. So now what, right? You have data technology, you have new business revenue generated by data. But the organization probably don't buy in because there's many people they're dealing with their day-to-day job. They don't even have time to think about, right? So people are like, oh yeah, it's an IT job, I don't care. One of the things quite important is actually data-driven culture. This is easy to say, but really hard to do. It doesn't happen in one day. I guess I ask question again. So raise your hand, or your organization talking about data-driven culture. That's good. So for some of them, they don't even, I mean, what's a major reason why your organization doesn't talk about data-driven culture? Is that nobody cares, or is that they care but they don't have time? Or is that it's not just in the leadership agenda? Think about it. So one of the live examples I can give, does anybody work for L'Oreal here before? No. So one of the examples I can give is, I think the company L'Oreal did very well, they did very well in terms of educating everybody in the organization around digital. So one of the things they did educate people in the organization is how they actually use the data and insights to make a difference. The way they educate is not just showing some very high-level slides and talk. The way they educate everybody is they create a very detailed but very live use case-based scenario and curriculum so that everybody in the organization, they learned exactly the same concept on what is digital marketing, what is consumer data, how they apply that into day-to-day job. In my past job in Mars, we learned from L'Oreal story, and then we create also, it's not the same, but some content around creating data-driven culture. In that content, it's not about talking, hey, we have to be data-driven. Yesterday you're not data-driven, tomorrow you're data-driven. No, that doesn't work. It's really about very detailed, people can resonate what they can deal with data in their day-to-day job, how they serve the customer better, how they do their job better through data initiative. So I call it 3 phases. The first phase is data aware of the data. I think most of organizations nowadays are already at this stage. They know what they need to do in terms of culture and outcome and activities. The second phase is data critical. Thinking data is critical in the business processes and decision making. A third one is data driven. This involve a lot of things. It involve continuous improvement in the day-to-day process, but also involve the continuous learning around the organization. So the examples I brought around Mars and L'Oreal is a live example around data-driven culture because people have the learning mindset. This is not just train the leadership. This is train 50,000, 10,000, 100,000 people in the organization to talk about the same language around data, to understand why the insights, customer insight, consumer insight, data is important in their business. So that's make a huge difference. So I'll skip these slides. It's basically using the same methodology. I think you talk about the agile methodology, design thinking, but I also want to bring data science mindset, low code, no code, and a self-service model around managing data. So that is something for you to think about, actually leapfrog from the old way of working to the new way of working. Again, all of this needs to educate. You need to educate the whole organization, not just the IT organization. Last not least is basically measure the success. Once the strategies are built, capability built, education is done, nurture the culture, and then there has to be some tangible initiatives to tell the leadership team what is the return of the investment after you have done so many things. Tell the real story using the live example how the data initiative contribute to the business itself, contribute to the organization KPIs. But also importantly, celebrate the success, right? Every time there is a success of implementation of the use case, make sure celebrate with the team so that you can start the next journey of transformation, create new capabilities for the organization as part of your digital transformation journey. So I'll stop here. I don't know whether it's a Q&A session, but hopefully this gives you some idea on how you create data and analytics real capability in your organization. Thank you so much.